Hey, welcome back to Milton Daily Homes. Chuck here. We have a list of 13 properties, and there are some bad pictures in this list, like some of the worst we've seen this year. Let's talk about them. Now, there's also 8116, a squeezing line, or a squeezing. I never know how to say this. I've had people tell me. I just can't. It here to here doesn't happen. Anyway, this is 1.29 million, the same as the other one in the list. But you're going to look at this, and I know there's going to be people that do and say, "Oh, well, that's awesome. What can you buy for that?" And I'll tell you what you can buy for it. You could buy a Toronto condo on 10 Eddystone or along Dixon Road, which I was in yesterday, and I'm still recovering from that. Now, there's varying degrees of photo crimes out there in real estate, and this one here, I think, is not so much the composition of the photos, even though there are some things there that, again, when you know a little bit better and you see stuff, you realize, like my guy does it a little bit better than that. And that's been a progression for us over the years too, but taking things off your fridge is kind of a standard fare thing that makes a big difference. In general, we have a thing called a rule of three, which is no more than three things on a countertop. And so there's a couple things here that, looking at this, unless that's absolutely necessary for everyday life, would the room look better with it out, with the guitar case? So little things here that I don't think would affect their fate by a huge amount, but when it all comes together, I say to people all the time, $10,000, $20,000 easy for going from good to great, going from it's okay clean to really clean, going from, it's a little dark to it's bright, going from, this room seems a little small to, this looks exactly the way I would set it up. That's the big difference. 184 Glebe Terrace, 550. It's a Hillsview model. We just sold an end unit with a finished basement, way up into the five. So at 550, they're going to do well. They've got it set up in terms of furniture and decor and everything else. It's all set. So I like the front door insert too, and I wouldn't be surprised if they sold for much more than 5 something, 560, 570. It's all possible. Now, Elmwood Crescent, 650,000, which is good. We'll give them points for that. We'll use the sandwich method of feedback. Now, front photo has a reflection of, I don't know what that is. Is it a coffee cup? It's something in the car. That's amazing to me that the window can't be rolled down, or getting out of the car would be too much. Inside, again, it's not much better. You get into tenant issues. You sometimes get into issues with even couples that are divorcing and nobody wants to do anything. You get into those kind of things, but it can't interfere with the logic that a better, well-presented home. So there's the look of it in person, which, is making your beds and cleaning your crap up. And then there's the photos. And this one kind of hits, they're batting 0 for 2 on that stuff. I think there's room for improvement either way. We're about to sell a home in Toronto. It's a big home. It's in a great area, just north of St. Clair. And it's a dog's breakfast. And I'm still going to send a professional photographer in to get 1 for 2, because it's one of those things where you do the best you can with whatever you're able to do. And the house is basically a complete reno, the one I'm talking about in Toronto. But you still want the best images you can. It's just the way it is. Now, I like this one on Zimmerman. It's only about 1,700 square feet. And I say that because that's a perfectly adequate size for a detached home. But there are other homes in this price range that beat it by 100 or 200 square feet. That's a really nice light fixture here. This home is going to present itself really, really well in person. It's a nice floor plan. The rooms are a decent size upstairs, double door entrance into the master. Even little things like framed mirrors. This is how it's done. There's a lot of bad examples in today's list. This is easily one of the best. And you're getting a 30-foot extra deep backyard, mature trees. These homes, this is Sundial built this home, and they're really, I think, the best combination, I think, in Milton of having an old Milton lot and having a new Milton house. This one, quite possibly, is the pick of the day. Now, for a little bit more money, you get a little bit more square footage here on McNair. Again, kind of an even Steven. You're losing 30 feet on your backyard. The other thing I like about Zimmerman is that you can park two cars side by side on the driveway. So this driveway might be long enough for two cars, but you've got to switch the cars around, and that's completely different than having it where you're side by side, just pull out of your driveway. These photos are bad, like really bad, like blurry, dark, just nothing good going on here. You have the underexposed and the overexposed shot. And again, people can sell their home whatever way they want. And we find even in this market, people kind of get a little, no, not every, I'm not saying it with this one, but there are people that just say, it'll sell anyway. It doesn't matter. It always matters. It really, we've seen that happen this year many times where, people have gotten more by doing the little things right. Another one on Trudeau, 749.9. This is a Coscourt built home. I believe it's a little bit under 2,000 square feet, and they have a rolled up carpet sitting there. Like, honestly, couldn't take that out. The kitchen doesn't look too bad. Like, you've got some decent built-in appliances and things like that. If we talked about Mattamy grass earlier this year, that's Coscourt grass right there. And you've got a basement, quote-unquote, apartment. How legal it is another thing. But again, people rent illegal basements all the time, and there's benefits and there's risks. And if you're curious about any of that stuff, let us know. We've talked about them in many previous episodes. Basement apartments are always a fun conversation. Second line is 759.9, and you can judge from the first shot whether or not the photos are going to be good. Some parts aren't too bad at all, but then it's almost like you've got the pro photos and then you have some of the kind of homemade ones. Here's where homemade starts, with something poking out of the ceiling. I don't know if that's water damage or what it is. Now, you are on 46 acres, by the way. So I would say to you is that in terms of value, the house is almost non-existent in terms of value. Like that, like the land value is really your main thing. So, but I think if that's the case, then you kind of sell it on land value. Like, I look at something like this and I don't even know. It just doesn't look inviting. If it is about land value, then you do the aerial stuff. You say, this is how far it is from this area. You play a different game when you're selling property where the house is really of negligible value versus something like the subdivision homes that we're seeing in here, where the house is probably half and the land is probably half. This is another one that's kind of like, you've got a nice front shot here. You've got lots of money spent on upgrades. You can see the kitchen has been done, I think, really nicely. But then you've got these midnight shots, and then there's day shots that are kind of underexposed, and it's just there's no continuity here. It's really fascinating to me. But I know that this home, with just a couple little things moved around and shifted and better photos, would make a huge difference. And this is a really nice area. Jesse in Campbellville is a pretty impressive street with nice mature trees. So there we go. No matter how bad these places are, just remember they're not $100,000 condos in Toronto. And I've been in a lot of homes in my life. We talked about this in yesterday's email. But yeah, yesterday the stuff that I saw was some of the worst that I've seen in 13 years. 10,000 homes I've seen in my life, more than 10,000 homes. So it was, if you ever want to feel grateful for where you're at, go to certain areas of Toronto, and that's not even. And the thing is about that is that the level of that is just so much greater than so many other places in the world too. So just be really thankful for what you have. we'll see you tomorrow with more Milton Daily Homes. And if we have a buyer class coming up on October 15th, I think it's Thursday night is the next one. It could be Saturday. Anyway, check miltonbuyerclass.com. Have all the details. Thanks for watching.